The LG OLED Evo C3 is quite actually one of the most versatile displays on the market. Not only is it one of the best looking TVs in terms of raw features, but the 42-inch model has been blowing up in desk setups just about everywhere, mine included. And although this is obviously a TV, it's been one of the more popular options for both desk setups and gaming usage. And with so many display options available, why has this become so incredibly popular? The starting point honestly begins with the specs and port selection. And wildly enough, the C3 OLED actually fills some of the gaps in the monitor space, which I will touch on shortly. Spec-wise though, we're looking at a beautiful 4K resolution on a glossy display, which gives us gamers features like variable refresh rate, auto low latency mode, and a refresh rate up to 120Hz. Pair this with the sheer beauty of an OLED display, we're getting a near infinite contrast ratio, HDR10, HLG, and Dolby Vision support. Depending on what you're trying to connect as well, you will be happy to know there are 4 HDMI 2.1 ports. We've also got an Ethernet port, 3 USB-As for your own external media, an optical port, and even a headphone jack, which is an exclusive to the 42-inch model. Now I mentioned this TV fills a lot of gaps in the monitor space, which is why it's found in so many desk setups. And the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that it's a 4K display that's glossy, the key thing being that it is glossy. While monitors typically ship with an anti-glare coating, while still looking good, they won't particularly provide the same clarity you would find on a glossy display like the C3 OLED. The reason this matters for so many people like myself is a mix of various applications. One being that legit clarity you get while gaming or consuming media, it simply looks incredible. Second is for things like creative work. I personally really dig this while color grading my videos, which is best done on a glossy display like this. And yes, while monitors do frequently ship with a set of speakers built right in, there's nowhere near a comparison when it comes down to a dedicated set of TV speakers. And I do gotta give a mention to the 42-inch size, since this is actually an uncommon monitor size. I really do think it's a good balance of being big for screen real estate, but not too large. With all of this, I've got the C3 OLED in my desk setup, which has just about everything I need. I've got my M2 MacBook Air, which is spec'd as high as it can go, but this is my main machine for running this YouTube channel. I used this opened on my desk or hooked up to a 4K Thunderbolt dock, which does connect direct through HDMI for that one cable connection. And on each side of this TV, I do have my Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, which makes this an incredible desk setup for gaming. The thing is, both the PS5 and Series X absolutely make full use of all the gaming features on this TV. Both of these consoles do have an AMD chipset, which makes good use out of the AMD FreeSync support, which will give us buttery smooth frames while gaming, since this TV will sync up with either console's GPU, completely giving us zero tearing or skipped frames. And for my PC users with NVIDIA GPUs, you do also have that G-Sync support, which again brings us back to how great this is for gaming usage. Still, while gaming, we are going to be getting up to 120Hz depending on your game or settings. Right now I'm getting absolutely destroyed in Modern Warfare 3, but it runs absolutely perfectly on my PlayStation 5, and I know hardware isn't to blame for my lack of skill. And I can always check what my FPS is as well using the built-in gaming menu on the TV itself. And it's also pretty sweet to change my black levels if I want to, not to mention there are all the other built-in profiles. Even other more cinematic games like Cyberpunk 2077 show off the raw beauty and HDR capabilities of this TV. The Xbox Series X is equally capable on here as well. Green checkboxes across the board in terms of compatibility for HDR gaming and content, including Dolby Vision support. For me, on either of these systems, it just comes down to having a grand scale display that performs incredibly well all around. Outside of console gaming, what about all the actual monitor usage you do on a PC? Well, spoiler, it actually does incredibly well, and again, it's really versatile. In my setup using this M2 MacBook Air and dock, I'm using this day in, day out for work, editing, and content consumption. With a 42-inch display as well, it simply gives me so much screen to work with across all the programs I have or editing my timelines. And where I was previously concerned about using a TV as a monitor in the past due to the high latency, this is completely crushed simply by using the game optimizer mode. And one of the things too, having spent some more time with this TV as a monitor, is that I actually just really appreciate that there's no sort of text fringing. That's just one of the things that would absolutely drive me nuts, especially when I'm doing my professional work during the day job. But even still, it's almost like I have to try and find something that I don't like about it. But it's not just the busy work or the gaming you might get done on here, because this TV is still a TV. It has all the apps you might want, like Netflix, Disney+, Twitch, and anything else you might want to think of. And from an image quality standpoint, since this is an OLED panel, we're getting literal blacks with insane colors across the board, all of which can be tweaked to your preference amongst all the other pre-existing profiles. Even native apps like Netflix have Dolby Vision support off the bat, so you don't really need external players if you don't want to. Still, if you do have your own media on an external thumb drive or SSD, you can plug it directly through the USB port like I mentioned, which does carry full support including all the HDR features. And again, I do want to give a huge shout out to the speakers on here because compared to any sort of monitor that you might find, these absolutely blow this out of the water. These are down-firing 20-watt speakers, and not that a YouTube video will really do it much justice, but here is a quick sound test. And of course, rightfully so, you might be worried about burn-in since this is an OLED display, but even after months of using this, there's been zero signs or issues with burn-in. One of the features here you can use is pixel shift, which moves the image ever so slightly, but it's not really noticeable even when I am focusing on my heaviest workloads. Otherwise, there's also this built-in pixel cleaning feature which helps keep your image clear. This can be done on demand whenever you want, or you can set it up to complete whenever your TV is off. And apart from that, while I'm not typically somebody who likes the UIs built right into TVs, I can say this one's actually pretty snappy and easy to use. I won't pretend like I won't still use my PlayStation 5 or Xbox for media daily personally, but if you don't have that, the built-in TV functions and UI are still quick and snappy. One suggestion I do have is turning off the ads on the homepage, which is found under the general settings. A huge kudos to LG for even having this option. A lot of manufacturers simply don't let us have that sort of control. And I can't help but dig this magic remote either. Navigation is pretty quick with a magic wand, and it still has all the shortcuts you want if you do need it. When I originally used it previously, I thought it was kind of gimmicky, but it has grown on me and I don't really use my TV any other way now. And since this specific model is 42 inches, it does keep that monitor vibe you want while still looking good. I can say it's built incredibly well with nice metal edges, edge-to-edge bezels, and enough space underneath for things you'd want at your desk like a notepad or even a laptop itself. I also can't complain about the cable management clips, which is always important for any desk setup. Apart from that, it's actually pretty hard to find something to hate about this TV in a desk setup or for gaming usage entirely. Overall, it's definitely a great option in a desk setup, and I can definitely see why it is so popular to begin with. And if you don't want to use this at a desk setup, of course, there's all the other larger ones, because this is still a great TV. But let me know what you guys think. I'd love to have a conversation down in the comment section. If you do have any questions, be sure to lay it on me. I appreciate you all watching till the end. Till next time.